Are you guys ready? Let's do this. Let's start the show.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
All right, episode 13.
Damn, dude.
I know, right? It's quite a lot of episodes. Technically 14 because we did that fantasy football special one.
Yeah, that's still like
But still, we're
3
moving.
months of podcasting now. It's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. I
We
know.
haven't missed a week. I mean, I say that, but we're Amigos short today.
Yeah.
But we have not missed a podcast.
We're in and out.
Mhm.
But yeah, still haven't missed a podcast, which is pretty impressive. I didn't know how long we were going to let this run for,
It's
but
because we're committed to each other.
I think so. That was cute. We all had, we did our last podcast last Tuesday. We missed the Aaron Rodgers deal. We missed the Aaron Donald deal. We missed the Kalil Mack deal. Chargers signed Gates. You know, all this happened if we would have scheduled our regular Thursday show. We could have covered it. But so we'll cover that again this
Teddy Bridgewater
this
got
week.
traded.
Teddy Bridgewater, and we were talking about the Jets in that last episode
Yep.
too, how what they should do with their quarterbacks.
And then-
But just to start it off, we all had big weeks as well. You went to Kentucky for a little bourbon tour. That was really fun.
Absolutely. So my fiance Shaylee lived in Louisville, Kentucky for about 3 years doing ballet out there, and her mom and dad have been dying for me to go to Kentucky for the longest time, and I'm always like, I'm up for something new. I'm up for something different. It was a lot of fun. The city down there is interesting. The nightlife is awesome. I can see why they love it because there's so much stuff to do there. I mean, you have Churchill Downs where the horse races are, the Kentucky Derby. You have the Louisville Bats, which is a minor league baseball team. All these bourbon distilleries. The distillery that we went to is actually a not national monument, but
Like a historical.
it's a historical
Like,
monument
yeah.
because it's the only distillery that survived Prohibition.
That was the Buffalo Trace
That
one,
was
right?
the Buffalo Trace
That
one, yeah.
big water.
Yeah,
water
it's all
tank
been
thing?
there since. Well, I mean, there's obviously things that have been built, but they still
Yeah.
have buildings that survived Prohibition. So there's a lot of stuff to do there, and we had a great time. Drank a lot.
I know when you sent Brandon and I that picture of that big water basin in the sky.
To foul that, he was
I thought
dying.
it was full of whiskey.
Is
I
that
was
full of
like-
whiskey?
I was excited. I was like, I know where I want to go
Dude,
for my
no.
birthday. I'm
Yeah.
going to
No, definitely. We were there, and like every 20 minutes, like Dean will like it here. Dean will like it here. Because every bar you walk into, I mean, in San Diego, we're famous for beer. I mean, as a whole, craft beer, that's our thing.
Yeah.
You walk into bars, and there's a few options at each liquor. I know that we're coming out with all these little distilleries now, but it's not the same thing. Every bar that you walk into is just a wall full of different bourbons and whiskeys, and it's like, I didn't even know where to start. It's like, can I try one of each?
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start either. And that's the scary part about that Buffalo Trace, that bourbon cream that you brought us.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I swear, I tasted that. It was so good.
Dude, and that's what I mean. Like, I drank so much, the second night we were there, and I never had a hangover because I was just drinking. I mean, not top shelf stuff, but good quality ingredients, and there's a huge difference. So it was a good time. We had great. But Brandon's in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, like you said, one amigo short. He's in Hawaii. You spoiled little.
We've
Yeah.
been to Hawaii once. We went
Yeah, no,
once.
and you're going for your honeymoon.
I'm going for my honeymoon. It's been a long time,
That'll be
but
fun.
hopefully he's having a good time out there. I know they're in Maui this time. They did I can't remember what island they did last time, but they did like the Jurassic Park tour and all that.
Yeah.
There's not as much to do on Maui. Maui's definitely more of a tourist attraction. There's some really cool stuff. Like you have the road to Hana. It's a volcano. It's not an active volcano, but it's a volcano.
I mean, Hawaii's just beautiful.
Dude,
though.
it's so nice. It's relaxing. You sit
yeah.
on the beach. Go to the bar, get a drink.
Tropical.
Absolutely.
Warm water.
Food tastes good because you're in Hawaii. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. So yeah, best of Brandon. Hope he's having a fun time out there with his whole family and stuff.
So you were the only one that was actually in San Diego. So did you do anything fun?
Yeah. I went to a Padre game.
Very nice.
So I won tickets to a Padre game.
So you called into the radio?
So I go to the gym in the mornings, and it was 6 o'clock. I was on my way there, and I listened to Rock 105.3, the show in the morning. Absolutely love it. Super entertaining. and they were late one day on doing what they call their showstopper. It's like, the clip that they had from the day before. And I listened to their podcast at work, and they were late doing it, and I just happened to be in the car, and I was like, I know what it was. I listen to that show every day. Call in, they're like, yeah, you won tickets to the game. Lo and behold,
Awesome.
I already had tickets to the game, so it was kind of a waste. First time winning on anything on the radio, but
That's cool.
yeah, so went there, had a few drinks, went to this really cool bar that I was telling you about, the Punch Bowl Social.
Oh, yeah.
That place is huge, man. It's like a 6-lane bowling alley, 2 ping pong tables, an 8-man foosball table.
Damn, dude, we got to go. That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
it's kind of in the middle of nowhere downtown, and the one thing I'm tired of in San Diego is paying for the experience.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
so
I'm the
tired
same
of
way.
that.
I don't. I mean, that's one thing that, like, I know, like, you worked downtown, so you had a lot of that feel, but, like, there's so much fun experiences that you can have without paying to get in places.
Well, yeah, and that's the beauty. This place doesn't charge you, like, cover anything, which is good, but at the same time, it's like you said, I like to drink whiskey and scotch and bourbon and stuff like that. You're the same. I don't like mixers, fancy cocktails, anything like that.
Straight
so,
up, man.
why am I going to pay $20 for, an ounce of whiskey when I can buy the whole bottle for $35 and drink it at home and have a good time? It's just, I don't know. I'm tired of paying the inflated prices.
Oh,
but
absolutely. Well, we're also getting older, so
yeah, that's true.
we value our money a little bit more.
But still, yeah. I mean, it was a fun weekend in San Diego overall.
Awesome.
Just having fun.
And then, just so you know, shout out to Rock 105.3, officially following them on Twitter. Little shout out there for giving our boy Dean some Padre tickets.
There we go. Eddie, Sky, Thor, and Emily.
Yeah,
105.3.
there you go.
That's right.
I'll have to give them a listen.
Yeah. They're good, man. They're entertaining. After lunch, I'll download the podcast and listen to it. Just gives me a little pick-me-up.
Oh, nice, man.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I've always been a huge fan of talk radio. Growing up, my dad, we'd listen to Jeff and Jerry in the morning every day on the way to school and grew up with those guys.
Yeah.
So I've always liked talk radio. People probably make fun of me for it, but
I know.
I like what I like.
In my old age, and sit in traffic all the time, I just listen to podcast
Yeah.
talk radio. It's like
It's different. You hear the same songs on the radio all the time. It's
Yeah.
nice to hear a different conversation.
Exactly. But like we said earlier, a lot of stuff happened in the NFL. NFL season started tonight.
Yep.
We're actually watching the Eagles and the Falcons play right now. The Falcons are in the red zone.
Just got a huge turnover. 9 minutes left in the game. 10-6. Eagles are up. And actually, on that note,
That's Tevin Coleman breaking
that is
it
Tevin
loose.
Coleman. So now the Falcons are winning.
Yeah.
So pretty close game. We've seen how these rules are affecting the NFL right off the bat.
Definitely. The game looks slower. It looks so much softer.
Yeah. I will say with the changing in the defensive mindset of not lowering your head on receivers, trying to go after the ball.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that they eventually look at the pass interference call since the defenders are no longer allowed to go after the receiver. They can't lead with their head. So I kind of hope that they start to change those defensive pass interference calls in the opposite direction where they're not getting called as often, because that leads for better defense. And I saw it today where a receiver went over the middle.
Julio Jones went
Yeah.
across the middle, and he should have gotten blown up.
Yeah, I mean, it was ultimately an incomplete pass, but the defender went straight after the ball. As in the past, even if he didn't, head-to-head contact, he still would have gotten lit up. So, but just now since they can't lead with their head, they can't throw their motions forward. You're watching defenders, steer back and go after the ball a little bit more. Which, like I said, that's a positive note to take out of something that I feel like everybody agrees on could potentially ruin the NFL. But if they start to see what we saw and notice that there's a positive to take out of that where they can take, some of the defensive pass interference calls away, it might be good. But the one that you were telling me about, the new
The sack rule?
Yeah,
man, that was just the weirdest thing ever. They called a roughing the passer call on a defensive end that had a clear shot to
basically just
Foles.
landed on top of the
Tackled him, his momentum took him forward, and then he did like a water slide
Yep.
kind of thing across his body. And then they said pass interference, he
Or,
landed on top of him.
roughing the passer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
roughing the passer, sorry. Landed on top of him, and you can't put his body weight on
Yeah.
it. And that just seemed
And that seems like I was saying, my point of it is if they're supposed to be like rolling off the side, if that causes rotation, so you're gonna have people tearing their ACLs off of very simple sacks. I mean, the one that you were showing me of was a video clip preseason with the Vikings and the Jaguars, where basic scheme where it's a play action fake. All the defenders and the offensive players, go to the left except for the one guy coming in on the right. It's the only possible way to defend it, and you have a clear shot at the quarterback. And the way that it looked, it just looked like
Yeah, he got his head across.
he
It was his
didn't
shoulder.
crush him. He could have crushed him. Yeah. So, not a huge fan of that. We'll see how it's always an interesting way to watch how the NFL starts the season off versus how they start calling games at the end of the year. They definitely are very pushy with these things at the beginning. And we as football fans just adapt to it, and we've been adapting for years now. Every year there's a different rule. And I understand protecting the quarterbacks, but at the same time, I would much rather you land on top of me than you roll me over and tear my knee in half. So,
plus, as a defensive player, why am I gonna protect this guy from a potential injury when I'm more at risk to injure myself
Absolutely.
now for having to put my wrist down or hit him and then try to roll off?
Yeah, whatever you're supposed to do. I don't even know at that point. I mean,
yeah, I don't even know how you can get around that.
No. And I didn't even realize that was a rule until they called it. So, I mean.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm proud of watching this first game is that there haven't been any. There's been some injuries on the Falcons end, but no real offensive knee injuries or ankle injuries, and I feel like that could be extremely prevalent in the NFL this season.
Absolutely.
Because they can't go to the head; they got to go lower body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes me worry too. I mean, we've talked about it for the longest time. I mean, obviously the head is an important thing to protect, and that's ultimately what they're trying to fix. They're trying to fix the concussion. But it's just a bummer because now you're looking at a constant next man up situation because you are going to have people, blow out their knees, torn ACLs, MCLs, and that's not fun either. I mean,
no, that's even worse to see. It's I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, like CTs obviously is not something that we can see right away. It's not as
It looks more painful. Like watching the Eagles quarterback.
Oh, Nick Foles?
No.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
I know.
Seeing that Carson Wentz injury last
knee
year.
buckle, man.
Just to see it go out.
Yeah.
Was disgusting.
Yeah, man.
I cringe every time I watch that.
And can we just talk about how, it's great that we have all this new technology where we can slow things down, rewind, and get super close. But it's like, I don't need to see that.
I don't need to see it that close.
Like they always do. It's like, oh, well, let's just go ahead and glance at what happened. It's like, no, didn't want to see that.
There goes the knee.
Yep.
And he sat out. I thought he was going to at least suit up for first week, but they held him out. So
Nick Foles is having a little bit of a rough week one.
He had a rough preseason too.
Yeah, dude, Nick Foles, I give the guy so much credit because he got hot when it mattered, and that team was on fire. And I was just having this conversation with somebody at work about their Super Bowl win over the Patriots, and everybody game plans for Tom Brady. How to beat him. You have to sack, or you have to get after him. You have to pressure him. Their game plan was to beat him offensively. And it wasn't to keep him off of the field. It was to just 1-for-1 all the way till the end. And it worked. And it's risky, but it worked. And I give Nick Foles all the credit in the world, but he's exactly who he is for a reason.
In all reality, it was, your old buddy Frank Reich. He's honestly the reason why the offense was so good last season.
He's an amazing offensive coordinator, man. I mean, and he did wonders with Carson Wentz. You saw it immediately with him running the offense, how obviously they weren't successful as successful in San Diego as they thought they would be, but he was an amazing offensive coordinator, and his ability to change game plans in the middle of a game is phenomenal. And there's a reason that he's with the Colts now, because he's shown great leadership over his career, and he's had success. I mean, the year that Mike McCoy and him took the charge of the playoffs, I mean, nobody thought they were making the playoffs that year. They weren't good.
No, they weren't good.
Yeah.
And just to see how he's affected, the Eagles after he left, their offense looks stale.
Oh, totally.
I get it, it's week one. Maybe you don't have all the pieces, nerves, whatever it is, but
they got a lot of question marks, though. I mean, still trying to figure out who their running back is. Jay Ajayi, I mean, shown a lot of potential with the Dolphins. Never, really shown in Philadelphia that he's the number one guy. It's lovely to see Darren Sproles out on the field again. I thought he was done. So the fact that
like his 14th season.
I know, man. He's
just a gamer too.
He really is. He's out there. I mean, just diving after the pylon, giving 110%. Same player that he was since his rookie year, just fighting for everything that he can get. So there's still weapons there. They have Alshon Jeffrey out still. It'll be interesting to see, but that's going to be a tough division for them to get on top of this year.
Oh, yeah. And, with week 1 comes week 1 of fantasy. As of now, it looks like Brandon's the only one that's winning his matchup currently. You're going up against Enrique, who has Jay Ajayi. Who do you have in this game?
Just Philadelphia defense.
Okay.
So I just lost some more points. Thank you, Tevin Coleman. Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
I'm going up against Julio Jones this week. I mean, Matt Bryant's my kicker, and he's put it down. He kicked a 52-yard field goal, I think it was.
Must be nice to have a good kicker.
You have
I
a
don't
good
know what
kicker.
that's like. No, I mean on it, like, just from being a Charger fan.
Oh, yeah.
I've always had terrible kickers.
Well, I saw they cut Aguayo, which I thought was smart. I mean, that guy.
He's been cut 4 times.
Nothing against kickers or anything like that, but
He has a head
guy's
game. I mean,
just-
they all go out there and they can kick the same limit. It's a matter of who can do it consistently, and who, you miss a couple here and there, but at big game situations, you need to be able to hit the 40 plus, not necessarily 50 plus, but be at 40 and 49 range consistently. And we haven't had a kicker that's done that, and it really pisses. I say we. I know that you're not a Charge fan anymore, but it really pisses me off that Josh Lambo's doing as well as he is, because he was terrible on the Chargers. He was awful.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
So-
who is the Chargers kicker now?
Now it's Caleb Sturgis, who was originally the Philadelphia Eagles kicker. And the only reason he lost jobs because Jake Elliott hit that 60-yard game-winning field goal.
That guy's good, man.
Mhm.
He hit a couple field goals tonight too.
Yeah, no,
So-
he's a talented guy. And he was a rookie last year.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how the season goes on.
Yeah,
but
long year ahead of us.
Let's get into some money.
Yeah, man, dude, there was some money being tossed around this week.
It's ridiculous. I know we had originally said, well, the salary cap went up, so contracts are going
Yeah.
to go up and money's going to go up. But I didn't think money like this.
Dude, I mean, we'll start with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that was the big one. Highest contract in the history of the NFL. There's been talks whether or not, pressure's on for him. I mean, the dude's got a Super Bowl ring. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. They took Jordy Nelson away. They still have holes to fill on defense. He deserves every dollar that he's getting.
Yeah, I agree.
And, there will be people out there saying, oh, they could use that money and spend it somewhere else. He makes everybody else better around him. For God's sake, their starting running back is a receiver. I mean, that just goes to show you he makes everybody around him so much better. So he deserves it. I don't think that at this point he needs to live up to any expectations. He's got the Super Bowl ring.
He's already done it. He's
Yeah.
already lived up to it.
He's just earning what he deserves, and that's, I think, what's nice that you see in this contract versus what you've seen with the Le'Veon Bell dispute is they're paying the player not because of what he's going to do, but for what he's done. And I think that every player out there, deserves that one contract where, hey, maybe you're past your prime, but financially we're secure enough to do this right now.
I like to call it the Kobe contract,
Yeah.
or the Jeter contract.
Mhm.
You've done so much for us. Now here's a little payback. One for me, one for you, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's a huge deal. 4 years, $135 million, up to $180.
Yeah.
I think it was $103 guaranteed.
Yeah. No,
$103 million?
$67 million guaranteed within the first 2 years. And
Is that what it was?
and then
Yeah.
he can earn up to $80 million in the first 2 years. I mean, that's $40 million a year.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Dude,
money.
Joe Flacco's massive contract when he was the highest paid was for $20 million. It's insane.
It looks like nothing now.
Yeah.
And then, the Rams are just playing with funny money over there. They gave Aaron
I don't
Donald
get it, man.
6-year, $135 million with $87 guaranteed. And he was the highest paid player, defensive player. But,
Up until Kalil Mack
just for
signed his
one
deal.
day.
I
One
know.
day. And then Kalil Mack signs his deal, or gets traded to the Bears. Then the Bears give him an extension for 6 years, $141 million. Dude, these are just disgusting numbers.
It's insane. I mean, we're talking like basketball numbers now. And remember, there's only 5 starters on a basketball field. The Aaron Donald deal, I've been saying for the longest time that he's been needing his contract. They brought on Brandon Cooks without playing it down and re-signed him to a long-term deal. They signed Robert Woods, their secondary receiver, to a long-term deal. They signed Todd Gurley to the biggest deal for a running back as of now. They brought on the contract of Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib. They have to pay Marcus Peters eventually. I just don't understand where. I mean, it's like there's funny money. Like it's basically like they're playing Monopoly right now.
Yeah.
They're just using a bunch of fake cash.
Who's their GM or owner? It's Kroenke.
Kroenke, yeah.
That guy's just got disgusting amount of money. And there was that rumor that he was willing to pay Kalil Mack this amount.
That's what I mean. Like, you still have to lock up Jared Goff long term. You still have holes in the offensive line that you got to figure out. I mean, this isn't a team that won the Super Bowl last year. I mean, I know there's aspirations of this team to win their conference and go to the Super Bowl, but you pay the guys after they get there.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid Brandon Cooks, and he hasn't played it down. I mean, good. Donald deserved every dollar that he gets. I mean, he's arguably the best defensive lineman in the game, defensive end in the game, up there with J.J. Watt, up there with Kalil Mack. They all kind of play differently, but he's a stud, and he's the centerpiece. But after I read that they were trying to get Kalil Mack, I'm like, but how?
Yeah, where are you going to fit him?
And not to mention, they're already getting rid of so many other assets. So, I mean, they wouldn't have had any first-round picks going forward. It's like, dude, what?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And then the Raiders, I don't even know what's going on in Oakland. I swear, it's like they're getting rid of all of their players so they have to move less when they go to Vegas. Like, they're just trying to
it's a fire sale. They're getting rid of everything, all their big stuff so they can just get new stuff when they get to Las Vegas. I don't know if I mean, that and the Le'Veon dispute in Pittsburgh, I mean, those are not how you want to treat your franchise players. I mean, say what you want, but, Derek Carr, he's a fine quarterback. He's still got a lot to prove in my eyes. Kalil Mack was the face of their franchise. I mean, the dude won. He was elected to the Pro Bowl for 2 separate positions in the same year. He was a defensive player of the year 2 years ago. 40 sacks within his first 4 years in the NFL. He's a phenomenal player. He's so versatile. I don't know what John Gruden is thinking. It almost looks to me like he's pissed off still that they traded him, and he's like, all right, I'm really gonna show this team up now. I'm gonna get rid of all their good players. I mean, damn, dude, like, what are you gonna do? Trade Amari Cooper next? Like, you don't have anything left. Your running back is Marshawn Lynch.
I don't get it. I don't understand it all. I mean, who knows? They say that he's, the best head coach. Maybe he has a long-term plan that we just don't see. But as of now, I agree.
They were a playoff team. I mean, that's what's insane to me. I mean, I'm very enthusiastic, being a Charger fan, because Kalil Mack just disrupts every backfield that he plays.
And now you don't have to face him twice a year.
You don't have to face him twice a year. I mean, it's insane to me. I mean, like I said, it's equivalent to the Texans saying, hey, J.J. Watt. I mean, mind you, that he's done a lot more for Houston.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's this, like, as far as a talent level on your team, I mean, that's the face of your team. And, I mean, there's a lot to be said about, players wanting a lot of money. But, since we're paying everybody in the league this crazy money, it's starting to look like all of the elite players are just going to end up on crap teams with a ton of money.
Yeah. I don't know. But you mentioned the Le'Veon Bell thing. I just want to say my piece on him. With the Steelers coming out, all these players are saying bad things about him.
I know.
I'm 100% on Le'Veon's side. I think it's a genius move, regardless of what his agent said, saying he's going to come week 1, saying all this stuff. I think that his camp and his, the position that he's in, he's really just trying to now screw the Steelers out of, their money and their chances of winning, because they franchise tagged him again for the second year in a row. I get it. It's $14 million. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But if he comes back week, 8 or 9 or something like that, he still gets $8 million. And, maybe he won't know the offense, or, Connor's doing good, all this kind of stuff, so maybe they don't play him.
But he's got to look for the future, man.
He said himself he doesn't want to do those, 400 touches he had last season?
400 touches last year. I mean,
that's just
over
ridiculous.
400 touches.
And I think it's smart because, even if the team has to pay him $8 million or $9 million, whatever it is, out of that 14, they still are losing, $5 to $7 million or $5 to $6 million that they could have signed another talent, another running back.
Absolutely.
So on his side, he's playing it smart because this kid Connor is young. Mm-hmm. He's inexperienced. Who knows how he's going to do?
I mean, dude, all the credit in the world for that guy. He came back from leukemia or whatever it was, and he looks great. I mean, not taking anything away from him, but Le'Veon Bell
I picked him up in fantasy. I picked him off the waiver because I was like, when what's his name, DeMarco Murray, filled in for him for those 2-3 games, put it down.
Yeah,
top fantasy scorer. So the O-line over there is real. They're solid. It's really just the talent of the back.
Oh, D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah,
D'Angelo Williams. Yeah.
So, it's really up to the talent on the back, and I think Le'Veon was smart in his moves of taking away that cap space for them to find a replacement for him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get less touches. He's going to come back healthy. He's still working. He's a workhorse.
Yeah,
so
man.
Another
He's
team's got to be
he's
looking at
26
him.
years old, or he's not even 26 years old yet. I mean, this is his 26th year. It will be by February.
Yeah.
My thing with the Steelers organization and the fact that the players have all come out and disrespected him so much is that they played every hand that they were allowed to. He's playing the only hand that he has, and that is he's allowed to leverage the contract as of now. And he was a second round pick, so he wasn't paid very high for his first 4 years. He signed the franchise tag, which increased his salary a bit, but still no financial security. They franchise him again, still no financial security. At this point, he's doing the only thing that's going to make his career last longer and get financial security. So I understand $14 million is a lot of money, but you saw the same thing with Drew Brees, with the 1-year deals that he was signing after his injury. If you don't have financial security, you never know what's going to happen in the NFL.
And the game is so risky, especially at a running back position.
Absolutely.
And when you're getting 400 plus touches, that increases your chance of injury.
And your value goes down by the time you turn 30. So, I mean, credit the Steelers for doing what they did because they were playing it smart financially. But also give credit to Le'Veon where he deserves it because he's playing the only card that he has. And he's supposed to be this, team guy who's going to take less money. But ultimately, if you're going to touch the ball 400 times a game or 400 times a year, you need to be paid like you're touching the ball 400 times a year. Because it's not just the fact that he's been good, it's that he stayed healthy and consistent through all of it. So I mean, I give him a ton of credit. I know that we've had opposing opinions on whether or not he should have signed his contract. And I mean, that's still up for debate. But ultimately, he didn't feel that the money they were willing to give him guaranteed was what he was worth. And I mean, you see it now with the Todd Gurley signing. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's proven more in his career. He's been around longer.
Yeah. And he changes that offense. I mean, I honestly don't think Antonio Brown's, regardless of how good he is and how talented he is, he'll still have a monster season.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll be as effective in that offense as if Le'Veon was there.
Le'Veon's he's one of the most unique running backs to watch. I mean, the way that he goes up to the hole and he makes space and he's constantly getting positive yards. What he does from the slot receiver position. I mean, he was the number 2 receiver on that team last year. The guy puts in a lot of work, and I don't think that he gets enough credit for what he's doing. And I don't think that another team would have treated him the same way. I mean, you obviously look at the Rams, and they were willing to fork up the money. There's, talks about the Chargers trying to re-up Melvin Gordon, and he hasn't produced nearly as much as Le'Veon Bell has. And I can imagine, next year when Ezekiel Elliott's contract's up, they'll be forking over the money as well.
Paying him too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's people pay to watch offenses score. I love defense, but the reason fans are in the stands is to watch your team score.
And that's why fantasy football is so popular.
Exactly.
And
you don't see people drafting defensive individual players in fantasy football. They're looking at the guys that are touching the ball the most and scoring the most points. And
Le'Veon Bell was the number 2 pick overall in the majority of the leagues, or the average draft pick.
Yeah, number 1 last year, number 2 this year. I mean,
those numbers deserve to get paid, especially if you're doing it. You're looking at it from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, and from an ownership standpoint. I mean, the amount of money that he brings in from jersey sales, from fantasy and gambling and all these things. I mean, he deserved to get paid. And we talked. He denied the $70 million contract. We still don't know how much of that was guaranteed. So that I mean, until I find out what that is, I'm still staying on his side with it.
Obviously,
$70 million is a lot.
Contract. His team ran the contract. His camp read the contract, and it wasn't what they were looking for. So, yeah. But another guy that got paid was Antonio Gates coming back. That seemed like a desperation move.
Dude, it is. I love Antonio Gates. He is easily one of my top 3 favorite Chargers of all time.
I would agree, yeah. Especially in our lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you could go back. I mean, there's Natron Means. I mean, Drew Brees was here, but I don't consider him a Charger. I mean, he is a Saint.
He's a Saint,
that's who he is. He started his career with the Chargers, but, I love Phillip Rivers. LT is obviously my all-time favorite Charger, but Gates is up there, man. Top 3, top 5. It's a cry for help. They lost Hunter Henry.
They had their arm tied behind
They
their back,
did,
you know.
and
They didn't have a tight end.
they
had
didn't have
Virgil
the
Green.
ability to, have any of these players come in. My biggest knock with Antonio Gates has and always will be the fact that he is not a blocking tight end.
Yes.
And the key to having a number 2 tight end is to have a guy that can block. It's not necessarily your ability to go out and catch the ball. It's your ability to stay in and block. And Gates is, you look at his prime of his career, he played in the slot position. He's not a blocking tight end. So I hope that people still value him and that he can create mismatches for other people. It's nice to see him back in the blue and gold, but they were in such a comfortable position with Hunter Henry that it does bum me out. It's bittersweet because it's like, all right, we get another year of Gates, but you're not supposed to be here.
Do we need another year of Gates? Yeah. Do they need him? Yeah, that was an interesting move. I thought that was that was kind of odd of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they didn't have a huge, receiving tight end that they go to, and he still, I mean, last year he showed the ability to get open. He showed the ability to create space. So it's not like he doesn't have it. Like the biggest question is why.
Yeah.
Why are we resorting to a player that's almost 40?
That's really the weakest point in the Chargers team overall.
Yeah, which sucks because
they're close. It's always the thing with the Chargers. Being a former Chargers fan, San Diego Chargers fan, always riddled with injuries. Looks like it followed them to LA. So we'll see how they do. I mean, as much as it pains me to say this, I think they might be my favorite in that division.
Absolutely. I mean, the Chiefs are always going to be a struggle. I mean, they have beat the Chargers 8 times in a row. It's hard to go into Arrowhead and win. They still have a good defensive front. I know that they got rid of Marcus Peters, but they're still a good team, and they play well together. I mean, say what you want about Andy Reid, but he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. There's questions on whether or not he can win a Super Bowl, and I get that, but he's constantly in the playoffs, and there's something to be said about a coach that's constantly in the playoffs. So we'll see how Mahomes does, but yeah, man. I mean, the interesting fact about that is they decided not to put Hunter Henry on the IR. So if the Chargers do make the playoffs, they're hoping he can be back. I mean, my old thing is don't rush it. He's such a young guy. He's got such a bright career ahead of him.
It's his second year?
This will be his third year, so he's missing his third season.
Yeah, I know. I think I did a very good job at being respectful to your Chargers.
You and Brandon have been good lately. I applaud the both of you for not giving me as hard of a time, giving my Chargers as hard of a time. Dude, football is my favorite sport, and the Chargers, as much as it sucks to have them in LA, it's so nice. Like it just brings back so many happy memories for me that I tried my hardest. You know how hard I tried to not be a Chargers fan. I was out there like shopping myself around, whoring myself out to every team that would take me, and ultimately, man, I have so much love for the
go
team.
Back to what's comfortable.
Exactly.
Drunk texting your ex saying, "Chargers, take me back."
Shaylee, he's kidding if you're listening. But nah.
She didn't make it in this far into the podcast.
I know, right?
Come on. After that first little intro, they're out.
Right. Like, yeah, you guys sounded great.
Yeah. Move over to NHL. I know that I don't really have much to say just because it's not as much of a conversation piece with you. But the preseason for the NHL starts the 14th coming up, so that's exciting. Season starting. The one story that I did want to tell you is about this Nate Schmidt kid with the Golden Knights. So he got suspended because he failed the drug test. He got charged with PEDs. So he took the test, and the amount of whatever it was that came back was so microscopic, but they still had found it in his urine, and they suspended him. He challenged it. They went to court, all this kind of stuff. His lawyer said that it's equivalent of dropping a grain of salt into an Olympic-sized pool. That's the percentage amount of what was found in his urine. And from there, he was suspended. That's ridiculous, right?
Wow.
Like, that's such a small amount.
Dude, the whole PED things now, and just so like people are clear, PEDs aren't steroids. PEDs are performance-enhancing drugs.
Anything that gives you some sort of edge.
There's been people that have been linked to Adderall, which is a medication for ADD. There's been, PEDs linked to deer tranquil
Or
deer antler.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, which is basically a testosterone booster, natural testosterone booster. So they're not necessarily always drugs, and so that's the one knock that I've always had against.
And not only that, but there's that boxer Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah,
They found some form of PEDs in his, but they accounted it to the steak and meat that's in Mexico.
yeah, dude. I mean, and if
Yeah,
that's
so there's always some kind of
Yeah.
hormone in your food. This kid Nate Schmidt, he released a whole statement saying, "I've never taken anything. I've only taken what the organization has allowed me to. Whatever is found in my system has to be from the environment and from just me, whatever I eat and stuff like that." So I feel bad for the kid.
No,
and
that's
it
terrible,
sucks
man.
that it's like they scrutinize it so heavily.
Well, and the other thing too, like, and I feel like the NFL has done a good job with really using the proper verbiage, whether it's PEDs or illegal, like, or banned substance list. So banned substance is any form of recreational drug like marijuana, cocaine, whatever it may be. But using a substance like from banned means it's banned not just from the league, but it's an illegal drug. PED is not necessarily an illegal drug. It's something that's going to help your performance. And the list is insane. I mean, I won't, because it's different in every league, so I won't dive into it. But basically, you're not allowed to take things that you would find at your local vitamin shop.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If I took a professional sports test right now, I'd probably fail. I don't take anything. All I do is take a whey protein and a pre-workout. But I guarantee you that pre-workout has something in it that I'm
Yeah,
not allowed to take.
Totally.
And I'd fail it right away.
Yep. No, that's how it is.
And
I
I'm
mean,
not even that built of a guy.
No.
Like, I'm not ripped like these guys.
I totally understand. I would be on the same boat that you are. I mean, there's obviously nothing wrong with taking workout supplements, but the list of things that they're not allowed to have. I mean, you got to be so careful. And for the fact that, like, a grain of salt in a pool, I feel bad for the guy. That's terrible. And that's a knock on his not his character, but his legacy. I mean, it's a knock on his legacy.
It really is.
Yeah.
It makes teams look at him differently when you don't see all the facts of the amount that he had or whatever it was. You just see suspended for this, and it's like, oh man, that guy's a cheater.
Dude, Manny Ramirez from the Boston Red Sox was suspended for using Viagra. I mean, like,
He's just trying to have a good time.
yeah, like, they're saying it's a testosterone booster. It's like, yeah, that's what it is, but it's not. He's not using it to hit the ball any farther. And I feel like baseball
unless he's
did
using a different
actually
kind of wood.
ruin PEDs for every other sport out there.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, dude, say what you want about a steroid era. They hit the ball farther than everybody. So
And they hit more home runs than anybody.
yeah,
it's
so
fun.
I mean, but it ruined it for every other sport because now we look at PEDs and everybody thinks, oh, steroids. That's not it. They're not taking steroids. And I wish people would stop and think, but I mean, that's a totally different conversation. I mean, that's not just sports, that's life in general. But stop and think about what exactly it is that they're claiming. They're not claiming that he took steroids. They're claiming that he took performance-enhancing drug.
Or
And-
whatever the
whatever it may
substance
be.
is, or
And like, dude, I've taken Adderall before. I had, 24-hour, 2-day test that I had to take to become a personal trainer. I was like, yes, I need Adderall. Like, my brain will shut down.
Yeah, and it's just I felt bad for the kid, but I just thought it was an interesting story how they scrutinize these kind of drug tests in professional settings.
Yeah, dude, but basically
It's
just,
crazy.
make sure all your food's organic. Make sure that it's all locally sourced. Like, I
Yeah, you
get
just
it.
gotta
Like,
grow
they're
stuff.
professional athletes, so they're making, top dollar. But, like, throw them some kind of bone.
Well, plus NHL players aren't making nearly as much money as other sports.
Yeah.
They're still making good money and they can still afford this stuff.
Yeah.
But they're normal guys like us. Even if I became famous, I'd still want to go to like Never
Yeah.
End Pasta at Olive Garden.
Dude, totally.
I'd want to eat my normal foods.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, that, like, kind of drives me nuts about it is the fact that you have these, players that come back from injury. They are constantly being drug tested right after they come back. And it's like, let the dude get healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, a cortisone shot is a steroid. It's like you're going to drug test the guy after he's recovering from a torn ACL or, ruptured disc or whatever it is. Like, leave the guys alone that are hurt. Stop drug testing them. Like, they need to recover.
They need to recover. And they need help, especially being at such a high level and
Your body is
needing to
your
come
job.
back.
Yeah, like your body is, the ability Like, you can have all the talent in the world. If you don't have the size and the strength, you're not going to be there. I mean, and so that's their moneymaker. They need to get healthy. Like, you always see that. Like, a player comes back from a, long extended injury and, oh, random drug test. Yeah, really? Random?
Really random? Yeah. Doesn't feel very random.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, so NHL's coming up. Excited to watch this season. It'll be a good season. Again, a lot of money was handed out in the NHL as well as the NFL. So money's going around everywhere. Just prices going up.
Just an update on the score. Ajayi scored again. Thank you, Enrique. Nice little ass whooping for me week 1. So the Eagles are up 18-12 with 1:49 left and driving.
All right. So it looks like the Eagles are going to take it.
Never know, man.
Eagles fans are so funny, though. So the beginning of the game, they hung that banner. They're cheering and doing all this stuff. 15 minutes later, they're booing their team.
Dude, they booed Santa Claus. They threw ice snowballs
right.
at Santa Claus. They're ruthless. Like, they will never be happy.
The
Eagles fans will never be happy, which is one mindset to have, I guess. I mean, you won a Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah, you won the Super Bowl. Enjoy it.
I was just talking to somebody about that today. Is from now until we crown the next one, they're the Super Bowl champions. They could win one game this entire year and they're still the Super Bowl champions. But that team and those fans would be miserable, pissing and moaning the whole time. And obviously, like, winning one game would suck if you won the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just unheard of. But, I mean, you are the champion until there's another one crowned. So you have from now, or you've had from February till February, until someone else dethrones you. Like, stop booing your players a quarter into the game. Like, they're still champions.
They're still the
That
champions.
dude out there, the playing quarterback that we were just talking smack about, like, he is a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. Like, give him some time.
He took you guys to the promised land. Yeah. I don't know. It was just funny. Yeah, it's funny. They just can't be happy. Baseball news, though. The Padres, man, they're calling up their young guys. They're looking good.
Dude, it's we're going to stay 100% positive in this podcast. Sorry, Brandon.
Sorry you're not here to enjoy us just being positive about the Padres.
Dude,
but
first one up was Luis Urias.
Yeah.
I know in the first game there was a little bit of an uncomfort level. You can tell he's just like getting the wiggles out essentially.
But I mean, he started off the game amazing. He
Yeah.
had that play to his left, pulled a Derek Jeter spin move, gunned the guy out at first. It looked amazing.
And dude, he's stroking the ball. I mean, he had that first not home run where I felt bad for him, but then the next game he hits it over the fence anyways. So he's been exciting to watch. I mean, I've been waiting so long. Him and Fernando Tatis have been two of the guys.
The one thing that I feel so bad for Urias is he makes that amazing play in his first game. Then Jankowski hits a leadoff first pitch home run. Then he gets his first home run, like you said, followed up by Hunter Renfroe going back-to-back with him. It's like this guy can't get his own spotlight. But I will say that he's extremely patient at the plate. I think he's going to be – who knows what the moves that the Padres are going to do. But if they move him to a leadoff spot, I think –
Leadoff or number 2?
leadoff number 2, I think he'd be great there. But like you said, his time up so far in the big leagues has
and I think like he hasn't gotten a ton of hits as far as like the last time I checked, his average is like 198 or something to start, which is a very few sample size. But he's hitting the ball hard and he's seeing so many pitches, and that's why I agree he looks like he'd be a good leadoff hitter because first at bat that I watched him, he saw like 8 pitches, fouling good strikes off, being late in the count, protecting the plate. He looks very confident. He looks like he's supposed to be there. So I'm hoping he's a guy that's starting, game 1 next year, which as of right now, that's looking to be the case. We've dwindled out of majority of our middle infielders.
Yeah, and I've seen him work so many 0-2 counts into 3-2 counts. Regardless if he, walks, strikes out, gets a hit, whatever it is, he's still working that count, getting those pitch counts up.
Which is interesting to see from a player that's, had his first taste in Major League Baseball. Normally you get antsy. And we saw it a few times, swinging the balls out of the side of the zone, but always working that count back into his favor where he's going to get his pitch to hit. Haven't seen him strike out a whole ton. Showed some, nice opposite field power. He showed, the ability to get in his hands inside and, turn on it. He's definitely been putting out exactly what we want to see. So definitely looking forward to watching him next year on more of a full landscape.
Yeah, and then there was that other couple pitchers. Rowan Wick
Yep.
came up. That kid looked amazing.
Yeah, man.
Jacob Nix has had another solid outing. So he's looking confident, and that's good. And I really like that kid. He's a strike ball pitcher. I've seen him go deep into games, at least to the 7th inning.
I mean, the one game we were watching here, he got to the 9th, and they gave up a home run. Of course,
and he only
Brandon
threw
jinxed
like
it.
86 pitches or whatever. But I saw him in the 8th inning, his last outing, only throwing 70-something pitches.
Yeah.
It's like, that's incredible. That's a talent.
Absolutely. We get third base figured out.
And shortstop.
Shortstop, who knows what's going to happen with Tatis or Galvis next year. But, I mean, Galvis has a solid glove. So, I mean, you surround him with a good infield. You got Eric Hosmer over there, Gold Glover at first base. If he's a ground ball pitcher, that's exactly what we need. And Petco is a pitcher's park. And it always has been, and it always will be. That marine layer sucks everything back in.
Makes the ball heavy.
Yeah, but it's been looking good. And then, the big one today, I mean, I know Mejia got his call up earlier this week. He had his first at-bat on Tuesday, I believe.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he had his first at-bat on Tuesday.
And he's played in the majors
Yeah,
before.
he's
He
gotten
had a
his
couple games last season.
He's gotten his cup of coffee, Brandon.
Yeah.
But
2 home runs,
Yeah,
man.
2 home runs today. And, I mean,
2 at-bats.
Dude.
Back-to-back at-bats, 2 home runs. That's
4
incredible.
RBIs, first full game. I mean, and he looked hungry. And, I mean, gosh, man, we haven't had a hitter like that in so long. That
He
just
strokes the ball to you with power. Like, his bat speed is amazing.
I mean, the ability to use his body or maximize his strength. He's not a big dude, but he uses every ounce of his body. And the one home run
hits like that too.
Yeah. The one opposite field home run that you saw was great. I mean, hitting the ball to opposite field is huge. The ability to extend those arms and get that full power to for him left center. That second one he hit though, down in the zone and just crushed it, like 8 rows up into the bleachers. I mean,
right in the bread basket, got his hands through quick. With all these metrics and stuff, his launch angle is amazing.
Yeah.
And then his bat speed, like I said, is quick through the zone with power.
Yeah.
And he uses his legs. He's a real talent. Austin Hedges needs to watch out.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think Austin Hedges, the one huge thing he's got going for him, best defensive catcher in the game. He's had so many inconsistencies with the bat that it's like, if this dude, I mean, if this is any indication of what
you could play.
Yeah. I mean, it's something the Padres have always needed. I mean, we've always had good pitching, as of the last few years we have, but we've consistently had enough pitching to keep us in games. It's been a long time since we just had a go. I mean, even looking at our best hitters, Adrian Gonzalez, he's a very patient, simple, hands through the zone. Sometimes he gets some home runs.
Good technique.
I mean, this
That's
dude,
where he gets
he's
it,
just
but-
a go-getter. I mean, he is out there to crush the ball. Like, he's mad at it.
Oh, yeah. And our other young pitcher tonight, Eric Lauer, he had a great outing, so he's looking good. Other guy, Joey Lucchese, that kid's been solid all season, so I'm totally
We still got
on-
players to call up, man. I mean,
I'm totally on
insane.
the Padres 2020 track.
Yeah.
I think that's the season. But you mentioned it a second ago. If you're looking into the next year, Tatis has that, wrist injury?
Thumb.
Or thumb?
Yep.
Yeah, and he had surgery on it. Are you re-signing Galvis to a 1-year deal after this?
Dude, I want to see Tatis so bad.
Are you bringing him up start of next season?
He's 19 years old right now. Correa got called up when he was 20. You've seen it done. If he's ready, put him in. If he's not, re-sign Galvis. The problem is with re-signing Galvis is you're saying that he's not going to be your shortstop next year. You can't put Galvis anywhere else. You can't move him to second if Urias is there, and you shouldn't move him to third.
But would you sit him on the bench for your rainy day guy? Like, what if
No.
Tatis comes in and his bat's not there or something? He
Yeah.
just isn't producing.
I think that the only way that I would be comfortable with it is if they moved him to third. If they re-signed Galvis and moved Tatis to third, at least while he's still becoming comfortable, because we have a huge hole at third base. I would love to see Will Myers, back in that outfield, being that, center fielder, right fielder. Doesn't really matter.
Put anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his does not look confident at third. If they can get him there, that helps. But I don't want to see them bring in their top prospect and have him be a bench player. I would love to, if it causes them another year of being down in the minors, that's fine. But
No, I
from
mean,
what we're
what if you make Galvis your bench player? So Tatis is the starter, and you just have Galvis there as a buffer. Or do you think that's too much pressure on a young guy seeing a proven starter to potentially Gold Glove
yeah,
behind you?
I don't think that it's pressure. I just think that the asking price is going to be too high for Galvis this year because of what he's done with his glove. Obviously his bat's not fantastic, but there's teams out there that need shortstops with a good glove. I think that he's going to be looking for a multi. I mean, he signed a 1-year deal this offseason late, and I think that he's going to want more security. So I think that's going to be the only hiccup there, which might force them to bring up Tatis early. But we'll see. I'm not opposed to any of the ideas. We obviously have a busy offseason that we're going to have. He's from everything that we're hearing, he's top 1, 2 prospect and flourishing. I mean, obviously injuries aren't great, but it's just the thumb. He'll come back and it's fine. So if he's playing as well as he has been, I'm sure he'll start in AAA next year, but I could see them.
So let's say we're bringing Tatis up. We need somebody there that can be a utility filler. Are you going to re-sign Spangenberg then?
That would probably be my best bet because Spangenberg's a great bench player, and he's somebody that can start the first couple weeks, and then you can start to sprinkle Tatis in there if he's ready. But that's the biggest if about it. I mean, I feel like the Padres as an organization aren't going to want to bring him up right away. And at this point, you wonder if right away means at all. Making sure that they're not bringing him up too early. So at this point, with the way that the Padres have been, I think it's time to start bringing in some of these players because, for one, you'll sell out more games. For two, it's been proven now. We've seen it the last few years. Chris Bryant, Carlos Correa. I mean, all the way back with Bryce Harper, that they learn the game. The good players learn the game. So I don't question whether or not he's ready. I just question whether or not the Padres think they're doing it too soon.
And my other point with seeing who they're going to re-sign or who they're going to get as like a utility player to fill in is because Freddie Galvis leads the National League with 162 games played.
Yeah.
That's just a ridiculous number. And with Tatis being young and coming up, I don't know if you can play him that many games in a season.
It's a lot.
So you kind of need, and then Urias is young too. He's going to need some days off, and you could move Urias to short for a game or two or whatever.
I mean, if Galvis is willing to sign a 1-year deal again, then I'm cool with it. I just think that's going to be the only hiccup is whether or not he wants to sign a 1-year deal. And it's baseball. It's not unheard of.
Yeah,
it's
and
not
they
the
could
same.
always make a move in the offseason too for somebody.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, it's just been a huge hole in our team for the longest time is that shortstop position. It's supposed to be Kalil Green. We've gone through so many different shortstops that I would love to see Tatis. I don't think they'll start game 1 home opener for the Padres, but I do think that we will see him next year, and it'll be exciting. Hopefully they figure out what to do with Will Myers. This might be an irrelevant conversation if they're deciding to move Myers back to the outfield, which at this point, with the way Renfroe's bat's been, Renfroe deserves to be the starter in right field next year.
Definitely.
Margot deserves to be the starter in center. I don't mind Will Myers playing left. Obviously, you've seen Franmil Reyes put up some.
His bat's been on fire too.
Yeah. But I don't mind moving Will Myers back to left field. Keeps him safe. Doesn't have to maneuver so much in the outfield. So we'll see. I mean, I've liked Galvis this year. I really
too,
have.
Yeah, I've really liked him too. And the young Padres though give us so much hope, so much promise. I'm really looking forward to the next couple seasons. If the front office and the Padres can work their magic and move people around and get everything organized, that'd be great. But
because now you got a question of what the hell are they going to do with Mejia? It's like
exactly.
It's either he's coming after Hedges' job or he's playing left field. So I mean, it's going to be an interesting offseason. It's hard because it's just the beginning of September, and there's a lot of questions to be answered. So, I'm going to enjoy this next month watching our young guys go out there and perform, giving us hope for what we have coming for the next upcoming years. But they definitely have a lot of questions to answer. Top to bottom, starting with the coaching staff. Do they think Andy Green is going to be the guy to coach all these young guys? Maybe he will be.
How long do you give him?
Yeah, exactly. What's the leash on that? Is it a year? Is it 2? I gotta imagine that it can't be too long because we've built this beautiful park down in San Diego and we've upgraded it and given them everything that they've put a lot of money into it now, but we as taxpayers pretty much built that stadium, and it was supposed to be to have a playoff contending team, and we haven't gone to the playoffs in 13 years. So it's been a long time coming. So hopefully they make the right moves.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But let's get into it. You got our stat of the day. I was going to have Brandon do the stat of the day, but then it would just be crickets. So I'm going to have you do it. Stat of the day.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, dabba-doo-ba-doo, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Bop!
Stat of the day. So, with today being the first game of the NFL, I thought it would be appropriate to go with an NFL statistic. So here's a fun one. There are 2 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that have beaten all 32 teams. Do you know who those 2 players are?
The first name that came to mind was Kurt Warner.
Nope. Peyton Manning and Brett Favre.
Wow.
Because they're both players that beat their original teams that they played for, but they are the only 2 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL to beat all 32 teams. Not play. Actually beat all 32 teams.
That's pretty amazing.
Which isn't something that you see very often because you don't see your star quarterback moving to a different team and succeeding. Yeah. So you obviously saw it with the injury to Peyton Manning and whether or not he was going to come back, and obviously he did because he went and won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. And then with Brett Favre, with all of his freaking retirement gate
not
issues.
Not wanting to give up.
Yeah, with the Jets, with the Vikings, so yeah, 2 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL beat all 32 teams. That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing, yeah. That's a great feat to be able to do.
Yeah, because the thing about it, I'm sure there's a lot of quarterbacks that have beat 31 teams.
And you have to learn a whole new offense when you go to another team. Then you have to be, to face off against your old team.
Yeah, there's a lot of animosity there from both sides, and yeah, man, I thought that one was interesting. I was looking at someone today, and I was like, that one really jumped out to me.
That's a good, that's a good stat. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up to you, and it came out of the blue earlier this week that I had no idea was even in the works. But Chuck Liddell is coming out of retirement to fight again.
Ooh.
He's going to fight Tito Ortiz.
For real?
Yeah. So Chuck Liddell is 48 years old.
Yeah.
And he's going to come out, and I when I saw this, I was just like, there's no way. There's no way this could be real. You know what I mean? Tito Ortiz.
Chuck Liddell?
Tito Ortiz is 43. This is a senior citizen fight. It's ridiculous, especially seeing that, Chuck. I'm not a huge MMA fan. I don't watch it, religiously or keep up with it that often, but I know that Chuck's last fights, he got knocked out 3 times in a row.
It's a moneymaker, man. All these dudes do it because they go out and make a fat paycheck. That's insane. I can't believe that dude's gonna fight again.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell seemed hungry though.
The last thing that I wanted to bring up on a totally different sports subject: BMW Championship for the PGA Tour this weekend. Tiger Woods out, on top.
He was 8
as
under.
of round 1, 8 under. He's tied with Rory McIlroy. So hopefully that can go on throughout the weekend. That would be really cool to see Tiger and Rory going after it at the end. So keep your fingers crossed.
Kind of like a young versus old type thing.
Exactly.
Rory being the young face of young PGA. Tiger,
who's supposed to be the new Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods being like, hey, I'm not done yet. So hopefully that stays exciting. Golf's a goofy sport, so you never know what can happen. But keep your eyes open for that one. Should be an interesting weekend in golf.
Definitely, yeah. And it's coming up on the Tour Championship, so Tiger really needs this win.
Yeah, man.
And we've been saying he's been coming up these last couple
Dude.
tournaments. He's been playing real good golf.
I know, like he's always had one bad day, and it normally looks like it's the first round.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can keep this going. Dude, golf needs it.
It does.
Golf needs it bad, and I would almost say that golf needs him to continue to do well, but not well enough. So people keep watching,
hoping that he gets it finally.
But man, I hope this guy's so bad, man. I mean, he's been through a lot, and say what you want about Tiger Woods not being a great human being. He's shown up. He brings his kids to all of his tournaments. He's trying to be that family guy. He's come back from these crazy back injuries. He's overcome a lot of adversity over the last several years. The guy needs it.
Yeah.
I just want to see that fist pump. I want to see that I won fist pump.
And it was funny because Rory was wearing a red shirt today, which is classic.
It's not Sunday.
Sunday Tiger.
It's not Sunday.
And it confused me when I was watching. I was like, wait, who is that out there? But yeah, they both look good. The whole field looks good.
Dude,
in
yeah,
reality.
it's going to be a pretty. I mean, the guy, from all the way down to tied for 8th, 5 under par. So it's looking. There's some big names up there. Ricky Fowler also tied for 8th. Matsuyama is up there in the top 12. There's a lot of good golfers at the top of this board. Justin Thomas tied for 4th. It's going to make for an interesting weekend in golf.
Yeah, but I guess we'll get into the plug. Follow us on Twitter at 3amigos_ and a podcast. Hosted on PodBean. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, Google Play Music. Literally anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, we're going to be there.
Just Google us.
Yeah, just Google us. We also have a website. You can visit our website, 3amigosandapodcast.wordpress.com. Send us an email, 3amigosandapodcast@gmail.com. I mean, we're here. Pretty soon, we want to get better equipment, because we're using these Microsoft headsets now that are kind of cheap. So we're going to launch an initiative for donations. So if you want to just give us like $1 or something like that, it all helps. We just, anything to get us some better equipment so we can get better content and sound better.
Give you guys a better experience.
Exactly. And we'll have that link on our website and in our show notes as well. So again, guys, thanks for listening. Brandon, hope you're having fun in Hawaii. We'll see you next week. But all you guys listening, take care.
Thanks for listening, guys.